What's up, everyone? I'm Jake, and I'm joined by a slew of home gym junkies for this group's second roundtable. So who do I've got? I've got Maddie, aka the Muscle Wizard, Eric. Eric Coach Carp. He's not here right now. He might join. We got Keith, aka the No Wine Seller, Chip, Fig Jam Exerciser, Eric Eccles _ Basement Gym. And then Jason, man who parks in gym. Thank you guys for hopping on. Let's get straight to it. So we'll start off with the true or false segment, just like we did last time. So I'll make a statement, and then you guys let me know if you think it's true or false. We'll tally up the results and have a quick conversation about it. So number one, true or false? I miss going to a commercial gym. All right, we've got 1 true, 4 false. Jason, why don't you tell us why you missed the commercial gym?
I don't miss everything about the commercial gym. Obviously, there are pros and cons of each, right? Just like I don't just love everything about having a home gym. But I do miss, if I'm being 100% honest, I miss they had machines that were always just set up and ready to go, right? I could just go from one to the next and whatever. I didn't have to worry about stuff. I miss having somebody else pick up after me, not re-racking my weights. I don't know who does that, but somebody, I don't have to, I have a Roomba now, but I also have a big pile of shit everywhere that I don't have, I wouldn't have to worry about that somewhere else. I'm at the commercial gym and stuff. I do miss interacting with other humans, even if it's just something as walking past them or something like that. There's something about that. It's kind of like this, for example. We can do these Zoom calls all day, but every single one of us is kind of excited about going to kind of the home gym contact thing, because there is something different about interacting with people and having, face-to-face contact and things like that. Or like watching a football game on TV versus going to the game and high-fiving a stranger. It's kind of the same concept for me. Even the sounds, when I first started my home gym, I bought a TV, and it wasn't to watch TV or anything like that. It was because I would turn on Jay Cutler TV, and his old stuff was just him lifting weights in a gym, and that sound of the iron and other people talking, things that you would normally, pre-COVID, I would have just worn headphones and tried to drown out. I now seek that sometimes in my space. So that, for those reasons, I do miss that aspect, and my gym bros and things like that. I do miss that aspect of the commercial gym. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
It does make sense. Would you obviously what you're doing with your life right now, you would say the pros outweigh the cons?
Oh yeah. Otherwise I'd be there's another thing too. When I was at the commercial gym, that was a pretty nice one, right? It cost me $79 a month. This thing cost me thousands of dollars just to keep up with the FOMO and all the other shit.
It's your fault though.
So there's that aspect. But no, yeah. Ultimately, I prefer this altogether, but I don't hate the commercial gym. So I do miss a lot of aspects of it that I can't get in. I can't buy enough specialty bars to make up for the things that I don't get from the commercial gym. I know Keith was confused by that. He's I have 27 barbells now, and every one of them are compensated.
There's Coach.
I'm here.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Sounds good.
Welcome to the party.
Let's put you on the spot. True or false, you miss your commercial gym?
Oh, false, definitely.
And why would you say that?
We had a YMCA for years that we went to. My wife and I, when we first got married, and it closed down. And then around here, there's some gold gyms and Anytime Fitness and stuff like that popped up. But you always had to wait for equipment, and the equipment was low quality. Barbells, I think for the most part, all they had was the hex bolt bars, barbells, mostly cardio equipment. And I'm more into powerlifting and power building type training. So a lot of bars, plates, dumbbells, stuff like that. I don't miss it at all. There was a few things, like me and Keith were talking the other day about the some of the machines that, the assisted dip machine and stuff like that, or the hammer strength rows. But besides that, most of that stuff I can stimulate at home, so I don't miss it at all.
Got it. Anybody else have anything to say on the topic?
I was going to say the only thing that I would really miss is just when I went 3 o'clock in the morning Like I was the only one there. I could line everything up. I could superset everything, just jump from machine to machine to machine, and I could knock everything out. But still, going at 3:00 in the morning sucks.
Yeah.
I could just stay at home and be by myself. Unlike Jason, I like being by myself. I don't want people around. I want it just me.
I spend a lot of time by myself, though. You know, I work at home alone, and you know what I mean. So, but I do like people. So,
I suppose you probably really miss a commercial gym because they probably have racks there.
yeah, my gym was. I mean, I went to a shitty gym,
man.
but I did have a nice gym.
I was gonna say the biggest convenience for me, just like what I don't miss about the commercial gym, is just the commute. I mean, even back when I was going, it was 10 minutes to get to the Y, 10 minutes home, but it was 5 to 7 minutes to get inside from the parking lot. Get to the treadmill to warm up, and so you're talking about half an hour minimum, added to the whole experience. And I was one of those guys that I remember my iPod would die. Like the battery would die on me, I would just leave my earphones in so that no one else would talk to me, because I didn't really want to meet people at the gym. Like, well, I don't want to meet real people when I have my internet friends here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something I don't miss about the commercial gym is that old naked dudes in the fucking every single gym I've ever been to.
Popsicles.
I was going to make it a pact with like other guys in my generation to end that. Like, this ends with us, because I think you age into that, right? When you're silver, when you just have like a bird and a silver neck, I guess it's like you're right to just stand around and talk to each other without a towel or anything on. But every gym in America, that's happening right now.
I don't miss commercial gyms, man. I'm a hobbit. I like having the gym to myself. I have friends that'll come over like one day a week, but that's about it. I work out alone. I can just get my workout done, work it around my schedule. The only thing I could possibly miss right now about a commercial gym is like, now that I'm released to start lower body training after my hamstring tear, it'd be nice to have some of the extra machines, because I can't like go straight back to powerlifting. But aside from that, I got kicked out. I've gotten kicked out of gyms for deadlifting and stuff. And like, I had a dude try to fight me one time in the gym for deadlifting. I don't have time or the energy for any of that BS. Same thing with like the headphones. Back when I used to have to go, if mine died, kept them in. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I have my like lifter friends online and stuff I talk to. It's very rare that I would ever meet anybody in person that I actually would connect with, because I was going to like LA Fitness. So it's not like people that are like really into the same kind of lifting that I am. So I don't really miss anything about it. I've got everything here I need. And machines were never really something I was majorly into.
Got it. All right, let's move on to number 2. So true or false? My gym costs more than my vehicle. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3 false. Eric, I don't know. We'll just go 3 false and 3 trues. Mr. Wine Cellar, how about you start us off here? And I should say we did this. We stole this question from Keith. Did it on the most recent Sunday survey, and 28% said that their gym costs more than their vehicle. All right, Keith, start us off.
Yeah, I definitely. I think I look at my gym as like the replacement value would be what I would have to spend to buy something off a shelf and have it delivered to my house. It's like $40K plus easy. Whereas I've been driving the same 2007 Toyota for over 10 years. So, my car's worth $3,000, my gym's worth 40. So it's my wife has a $20,000 SUV. So even if you add both of our cars together, there's still, I'd much rather have something to come home to that I'm enjoying than drive something home is a little bit nicer. But yeah, I was stealing Massonomics is overrated, underrated, and then some of your poll ideas. So I was like, I hope no one gets pissed off and stealing all these polls. I was just trying to, give my followers something to react to over the weekend. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, some good questions. Eric, why did you go with half and half?
Well, like Keith was saying, the value of my car versus what I've actually paid, it may be about equal, right? Less, because I did a lot of flipping in the last couple of years. So I started out with a Titan setup. Actually, I started with just a bench and a 300-pound set of weights and used that for about 2 years. And then I got a Titan rack, and then COVID hit. And that suddenly that Titan rack was a lot more valuable than it was a couple years before that. So that kind of started the snowball and into the Rogue, basically mostly Rogue setup that I have now. I have some other stuff like Stray Dog and stuff like that. But if I would have bought it outright, it would be more than my car for sure, because my car's probably worth about $8,000 to $10,000. And I'm in sales, so I drive a lot. So it's a car that I drive. I've been driving it for years. But my wife, I park on this side. My wife parks on the other side. So hers is the nicer car. And then I have the gym side of pretty much, that value. But if I had bought it outright, it probably definitely would be more than my vehicle. But since I've done a lot of flipping and buy one thing for a low price and sell for a higher price, I guess it actually purchase price would be. But what I've actually put into it myself, most of that was profits from flipping. So I would say no in that sense. So it could go either way, depending on how you look at it.
Being in sales, I assume that you sell Mars bars for a living, because you've sold like 3.
I've sold 3. That's 3 of the flips. I got one. I finally found the one with the leather pad. I was looking for the leather pad one, but you couldn't ever find them. So all the ones that came out the last couple of years were the ones with the molded pad, which I had that. I've used it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just prefer the feel of the leather pad. To me, it's a little bit more comfortable, and I just like the look of it better. There's some cool ones circling around with the red, white, and blue. I think some of you guys have seen those.
Yeah,
the original specialty pads that were like at the Arnold and things like that. But yeah, buy low, sell high, and you can get some nicer equipment.
I've been driving my Honda Civic since my son was born 7 years ago. I paid $1,200 for it, and even with I'm working on a the old painted vans people used to do in the 70s and 80s. I'm working on a Wizard van. That's my next vehicle, because I'm entering that phase of my life. So I mean, my work is like 2 minutes away. So like I'm not a materialistic person in general, and I'm not a car guy at all. As long as it gets me where I need to go, that's all I care about. So like, even if you count the cost that I'm putting into the van, the amount of money I put into my gym is way more, just significantly, like way more. I mean, even with like the deals that I've gotten and stuff, like I've still put way more into the gym. I just couldn't care less as long as I can get around. So I'd rather have like all my cool, like this is the stuff I like. Like if I cared about cars or liked cars, maybe I would, but I don't. So like this is the expensive stuff that I do enjoy. So
hey, that Wizard van's on brand though, man. Make it purple and put some stuff on there. Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep. That's the dream. I don't know. It's just very me, and I just thought it'd be a fun project. And I'll be 34 tomorrow, and I'm starting to slowly creep towards 40. And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna be that 40-year-old D&D dude that drives around in the creepy painted Wizard van. So
it's like for me, my gym probably costs like $1,000 or $2,000 less than I paid for my car. But I mean, it's worth more than my car now. A couple months ago, we had a really bad hailstorm. I got $6,400 for hail damage. I'm not fixing the car through that. But I just threw that right in the bank because I can buy more stuff then.
Hell yeah.
Still runs.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing.
It still doesn't even have 60,000 miles on it. So why would I junk it? It runs just fine.
Yeah, I have done the same thing.
That would knock your $40,000 shed gym down to 34, right?
There you go.
There it is.
Put it right towards that. There you go.
Get chipping away.
Well, get a couple more storms.
That's kind of what it was there for. But $40,000 is a little much that I want to spend right now. Maybe next year it'll be a little cheaper.
If you're in Tennessee, you could park it outside tonight. We got 60-mile-an-hour winds and hailstorm tonight. So cash in.
Yeah. Oof.
All right, let's go to number 3. So true or false, specialty bars are overrated. Oh, this is kind of lame. Everybody votes false.
It's a fact.
Yeah, someone tell me what they would say to somebody who says that all you need is a straight bar.
Do you want to lift? Do you want to lift long term? Is my big thing. You want to lift long term. You are realistically, as you age, it's going to be harder and harder for you to lift with just a straight barbell. even if you don't accumulate injuries through lifting, just even as you age, you're naturally going to have issues with your body. It's just going to be harder and harder to maintain positioning, even like, holding, like for me at this point, like, I mean, I've had injuries and stuff through jujitsu and stuff, but like even holding like a low bar position with a straight bar is nearly impossible at this point, So my answer is very simply like, do you want to lift more than just like when you're young? Do you want to keep lifting into your 40s, into your 50s? The easiest way to do that is by having more specialty bars that can work around issues that are going to come up with your body.
Or help mitigate those issues from even happening. Just to alleviate that stress long term. Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely.
I just think it comes down to your training style and what type of lifting you want to do. Some people don't need barbells at all, and that's totally fine for those people. For me, I like specialty bars because it helps keep me interested in lifting weights in whatever capacity that is.
I mean, I just like having the different bars to do different things. It's like I kind of get bored ADD a little bit, so I like to switch it up, grab a different bar, try a different movement. Every different bar makes it feel a little different, so it's just change it up a little bit every now and then.
I'll jump on that too. Like Keith was just kind of joking about being a Mars bar salesman, but I'll tell you, the two guys that came to get those other two Mars bars, they were like, man, I was totally into straight bar. I never thought I needed another bar. I got me a good power bar and all that. He's like, and then until I thought I needed it. So when you need it, you kind of know when you do need it. One guy drove like 10 hours from Ohio to get it. And I wasn't like gouging him. I sold it for cheaper than what he could probably go buy it for. But I made some money on it as well. And then the other guy was here local. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm just having trouble with my shoulders and it's affecting all my other lifts. So he's like, I've tried everything and the Duffalo is not working for me. So I want to try this. And he's like, I don't want to stop squatting. So I want to try this. So, I made $100 off of it and sold it to that guy. And then he got it for $200 and then he could go buy it for. So they're like, man, I was all into powerlifting, but now that I feel like I need it, I don't care how much it costs. And so those guys were able to come get it. And then one drove almost 3 states to pick it up.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right. If we don't have anything else, let's move on to, we have 3 additional topics that we'll just have a general discussion on. And if you want to be the first one to answer, just chime in. But did you guys think of any products that need to be invented?
A lot of multiple products that need to be invented, but I can't disclose any of them on this podcast because obviously patents aren't filed yet.
He's working with Kyle.
I know a couple of guys like that. That are is it Danny? I think his name is Darko. He's coming out with stuff. And
David.
David.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He's gonna watch this and hate me. Look, man, I've been hit in the head a bunch over the years. I remember Instagram names. So, but he's been sending me, stuff he's working on that he hasn't released yet. And like, I know a couple guys like that are like, yeah, I've got ideas, but like, I don't want to say anything until I come up with it. I wish that I had some of those ideas, because like I would do the same thing because like we all know enough or know people you can go to get manufacturing or whatever. But I just honestly, there's nothing that sticks out in my mind because I either monkey with stuff myself and come up with a solution, or the things that come to mind for me are like, I think there's a lot that is going to be done and can be done in the 3D printing world. I've already done a good amount. Like I've got I made custom stuff for my J cups with like high density rubber, and that's great. But while I have seen at least one guy who's making stuff with 3D printed parts, I don't think it's a great idea for most parts because it's not going to hold up. But I think eventually we're going to get better materials. Eventually we're going to get like in homes, we're going to get 3D printers that are more than just like plastic and rubber and stuff. Like I know there are systems like in commercial that have capabilities for metal and stuff like that. I don't know what we'll get, but I know we'll get more capabilities. I think that's going to create a lot of opportunities in the fitness community in general, whether that's DIY or just more companies starting to use that. I wish I could come up with some stuff myself so I could, make a few bucks for myself, but I got nothing outside of that.
So my answer shows that I'm just a bougie power lifter. I would love for a company to figure out a way to make a 27 millimeter stainless steel deadlift bar. Probably not possible since stainless steel is like more, it had a higher static load ability than, other bars or other finishes, other types of metal. But, it was all a make-believe question. So, like, if I had a perfect world, even if it's a stainless steel coating or something, I just want a deadlift bar that's not going to look like shit, by the jack using it. I don't want a bare steel bar. And Kabuki can't figure out fucking nickel anymore. So I don't really have, it kind of is what it is. Like, I'm holding out for a black oxide Kabuki bar, but I don't really love the black oxide finish. But I don't want bare steel or Cerakote.
That's what I was going to say. You can't get nickel, so you don't have a choice.
You can if your man who parks in the gym and orders one 2 years ago and finally gets the replacement one, but he's the only one.
Well, that was a lot of work. Yeah, that Kabuki nickel, man, it is nice. I hope they get that shit figured out. I don't know if it's weight, but it is nice. Yeah, I'm kind of with Chip, man. I don't know. After our last podcast, I actually had a couple of people, it was pretty cool, had reached out to me. A lot of it was kind of like, hey, man, I saw your fucking tirade on.
Which one?
In there. I've gone through that exact same thing as you, and I just, I relate to that story in that way. And I just want you to know that you can reach out to me if you have, and give me some kind of advice. And so like one of the people that I had kind of a back and forth conversation with was Steve Cleva. And he basically said, if you come up with an idea and you want to run with it, don't say a fucking word. He didn't, I added that because that's just how I talk. He just said, don't say your best friends, make them sign an NDA before you tell anybody anything. So I'm going to take his advice on that, but I'm going to give you one, Titan, whoever. We need a rack-mounted fucking back scratcher. You know how often I'm like, lean.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
You can 3D print it.
Yeah, just like fingers that I get that spot on.
I'm going to work on that in the next few weeks. I'm going to do that just for you. I'm going to totally make one.
Does anyone have like the $200 hypervolt thing you hook up to your barbell and it actually like allows it to, it's like just an articulating arm, I think. I know Efren has one, but if you go to like hypervolt, they sell an attachment. Yeah. It's the AbMat. You're right. Yeah. It's like $200 though, isn't it?
It's not cheap.
I don't have that one. I have like I want to call it monkey mount, but I think that's the name of like those monkey feet or something.
Monkey feet. Yeah. For the leg extension, leg curl.
Or those camera holders.
Yeah. It's a apparatus that you put your hypervolt on, and I never use it. It's actually sitting in the box over there. Like I could probably do like a full product review if you guys would like.
Sure.
I don't have a rack.
Yeah, God damn it, you beat me. I was going to say you can't show us your rack, but yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we didn't. I think Keith had the best answer there with the stainless steel deadlift bar, but that just kind of shows you how hard it really is to think of new products. Whenever somebody does come out with something, even if it's like, a DIY person, I mean, props to them because it's definitely not easy. All right, well, let's move on to number 2 for the additional topics, and that would be, what's a product you'd like to add to your home gym by the end of the year?
I can go first on that one. So the one that I actually already ordered, and I'm waiting for the goat from Stray Dog. So hopefully that can solve some of my I'm missing all the leg work, and saw him try to rig it up for seed calf raises. Hopefully that kind of works out. So that would be my one pick. And if other than that, if Kyle gets his little lever arm joint figured out for my Titan arms, I'd like to grab that too.
Can you explain what the goat is in under a minute?
Tom Brady.
Well, Ed,
Michael Jordan.
It's really Ed Cohn, but the Stray Dog goat.
Well, I think Carp should tackle that one since he's a stray dog salesman as well.
I just use that Kurt Locker code, man. It's like a 24-inch lever arm. Mostly
I've seen Kurt use
utilized.
that.
Yeah, mostly utilized for things like he was saying calf raises, but I use it for leg extensions, leg curls.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then you can straighten it out and use it as a step up plate or however you want to do it. But that's the main thing. I mean, I've seen people do it, get two of them and do short lever arms, but I mainly use it for leg extension, leg curls. I thought about getting the Titan rack mounted, but I just didn't trust it, man. Honestly, I was like, I know the seated one is okay, but the rack mounted, I just couldn't do it. So the Stray Dog came out with that, and I've seen the isolator thing. That just seemed too complicated to me. So Stray Dog is pretty much just 3x3 post and with a bracket. That's a really nice bracket. The bracket works well and it's really smooth. So if you guys never tried it, I think you'll like it, but you'd have to let me know. But it works good for me, especially if you have an adjustable bench. If you have an adjustable bench, you can set it at 15 degrees. And if you have leg rollers, like I know Chip has leg rollers, some of the guys have leg rollers, you can put them on the post and then set up your adjustable bench and sit just like it's pretty similar to a machine, except you load the free weights.
Yeah,
or you can do bands if you wanted, I guess, but I don't do bands with the goat.
I ordered 2 of the Alpha leg rollers with it, so
those are nice leg rollers.
Yeah, the only reason I went with that one when Pentagraph had his little giveaway like a month or so ago, I won that. So, I got the money now, or it's a tiny little portion of it, but I'm like, well, might as well go spend some money now.
Are you 3x3 or 2x3? What kind of rack is yours?
No, I'm a 2x3, but I've got plenty of adapters. So
okay, I was gonna say because it has on the back of it has a 5/8 pin that you can do.
Yep.
But the only thing is it would rub against the rack. You'd have to put something between there or whatever.
I've got some adapters.
Well, all that stuff arrives scratching then anyway, right? So
right, it's already it's going to scratch anyway.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, right.
Right, it's cheaper that way.
I think you'll like it though, man. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's something I wish I invented like that, or like the Darko thing. I've got that coming too. But it's like if you need that, like you see it's just sitting there. It's in the way. Like it doesn't really fit on the gun rack properly. So I'm like, when the Darko came out with that, I was like, man, that's a no brainer for me. So I got one coming whenever he gets them out.
The anchor.
Yeah, the anchor.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that too.
Yeah, it's a good idea for sure. Next for me, I want to get some different adjustable dumbbells. Like I've got like Olympic sleeve ones, but I want to get the ones I was eyeing are Bolt Fitness. Is it Bolt Fitness? I think they have ones called the Octabell because they come in different colors and the pricing is really really good compared to like the Nuobell, and it looks like it's pretty much the same thing. And aesthetically, because if we're all being realistic, we all care a little bit about aesthetics at our gym. They're kind of D20 shaped, so I'm gonna paint them to look like dice when I get them. So those are getting ordered shortly. So that's the next thing I've got on my list of stuff to buy. Is I want to get one of theirs. I think they've got like sets of 80 or something like that. That is what I have saved in the cart right now.
I'm pretty sure I'm done spending money for the year. I just got the RM3 that I've been in my wish list for years. Got a burnt orange RM3 that I bolted to the ground. And then like 2 days later, I got a freaking Kabuki power bar that shipped in like 2 days. And I got a marked pair of York deep dishes. So I had like 3 bucket list items I got in a matter of like a week, and it cost me like $3,000. So it was like $4,000. So I'm done spending money for a while. But the only other thing on my wish. Yep.
What if your wife spends the money?
Yeah, she did end up buying. Yeah, so the
Christmas is coming.
The Kabuki power bar actually was my Christmas present, so I don't have Christmas anymore.
Okay.
But the only other thing I'd be willing to buy this calendar year would be a Kabuki deadlift bar if it was in stock and in the right finish I wanted. But that's like not going to happen, I'm sure.
What finish do you want it?
Well, I mean, ideally nickel, but a black oxide at least pops up every now and then. So I would settle for black oxide because it's gonna, it would work. Though I don't love the black oxide on the power bar because it's where I bench. There's not a light directly overhead. So like trying to see where the knurl stops and then like it just goes to bare metal to like set up my thumbs. I have to really it's stupid, but I literally spend like an extra 2 seconds to do it versus the stainless steel, like just bright, stainless bar. So like that, like little stupid thing, just like that. And then the sleeves are, they're the sleeves aren't nickel. I think they're like a black, I don't know, black chrome or something. I don't know. But the fact that the bar doesn't look uniformed all the way across kind of bugs the shit out of me. That's why I never like the idea of a stainless steel Ohio Power bar with chrome sleeves. It just doesn't look uniform. So the Kabuki black oxide bar, the shaft looks great, but then it's got like shiny sleeves that are already, wearing down. So I don't love that for a fucking $700 bar. It's not perfect.
But it's funny though, when you're talking about Kabuki and you're talking about like the high notes and you're like, it shipped in 3 days. Like nowhere else in the world would that be even a consideration where where it's something that you would mention, like it shipped fast. Like I didn't have to wait 18 months to get the barbell. And every one of us that have ever ordered from Kabuki is like, oh yeah, 3 days. That's fucking great. Kind of funny. Man, for me, I think it's obvious, right? By the end of the year, I would like to have replaced my rack that I bought or that I sold and the weight stacks or whatever I do. Still haven't quite landed on what I'm going to replace it with, but it's kind of not really a whim. I've been like regretting this decision. Not regret, but everything that I have done in like the last 3 years has been in some way, shape, or form comes back to I should have just bought a fucking monster, right? So it's the 4 whatever. And so I finally just got to the point where I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to put it up. I'll list it for sale and I'll put at a price that like, if I don't sell it for this, I just won't do it and whatever. And it sold Monday. It sold Monday. And so now I'm just like, now that it's like a little bit more real, I'm having a harder time just because I had everything in the cart. Like I've been going and like building racks and well, maybe I just add like this or do this or whatever. And now that it's kind of real, I'm like, maybe I should wait just a little bit and kind of think through this. If I do some real self-reflection, like I don't really need a 6-post monster rack. I'm not a power
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
If you're going to park in there, you might.
That prime rack's going to cost you like 5 times more, though, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't the prime rack going to cost you like 2 or 3 times more than what a RM6 would have?
Not
by the time you outfit it with all your attachments.
Not when you start throwing in like slingers and stuff, and you still have the same limitations with like the slingers. They're great for like high and low pulleys. That's what they're made for, right? But when you try to squeeze anything else out of it, you find the limitations real quick, and then that's whenever all this rigging comes in, right? I don't want to do that anymore. Like not with what I use that rack, what I like the most. I mean, I'll bench on chest day, I'll squat on leg day, right? But my cables and stuff, like the weight stacks, I use those every single workout, every single day. You know what I mean? So I'm like, why am I thinking I need to prioritize a 6-post gigantic rack? I already have a pretty limited space because I've got it filled with so much other shit, right? But I'm kind of having these moments where I'm like, maybe I should reevaluate my priorities and get something that is going to be a little more lasting for the style of workout that I do, longevity. I'm never going to need a 6-post rack for the bullshit weight that I put up. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that. And so I'm kind of having this come to Jesus moment with it. And yeah, the Prime, when you put it all in the cart, they're actually not that far apart. But Prime does charge a premium for shipping that I think we get spoiled. I know a lot of people like in your home gym community think that Rogue just rapes people on shipping, but if you've ever shipped one of their products yourself, you're actually getting a pretty good price. You know what I mean? But I am having a really hard time with this idea. It's like I said earlier, like the FOMO thing. I'm like, what? I'm used to the rack. I know what the limitations are. I know how I can deal with those, whatever. I don't know that much about the Prime. I know that with Rogue, whenever I go to like resell it, I will be able to sell it. You know what I mean? Like I may not get as much, as much as I paid for it or whatever. I'm probably going to lose my ass on it regardless, but at least I know that I'm going to get traffic on my ad. You know what I mean? With Prime, I don't know if anybody's ever even heard of that where I am. You know what I mean? But I trust that it's going to be a nice rack if that's the one I go with. And I think prioritizing the cable stacks and the feel of the cable system and stuff is probably going to be the better option for me in what I do. Plus, it'll open up like half of my my platform so I can do deadlifts over here now instead of setting up that bullshit in the middle of my garage where I have to try to keep it from rolling away and all that stuff. So it'll be nice.
Well, I mean, we're only like a month and a half away from Black Friday. I mean, something might.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I don't think I don't think they do that necessarily. I mean, I don't know.
No, but if you're not 100% sure on Prime, Rep or Rogue might have something, and that might sway you.
Nah, I'm not. I'm kind of taking. I mean, I know this is a weird thing to say, but I'm taking a lot of that out of my decision making. I'm really not trying to be steered by cost. So, I mean, if it's. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to spend like $10,000 and whenever I could get something comparable for 4 or something like that. You know what I mean? But like, I'm really trying to think of this in terms of like, I'm not fucking doing this again. This is like my 3rd rack, man. You know what I mean? Like I had the wall mounted one, and because I had so much Monster Light shit, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to get the Monster Light. I'm going to be happy. And I haven't been, you know what I mean? So this is like an investment in my peace of mind and my sleep. And like, that one's got the 3x3s. It's got 1-inch holes on 4, it's all 4-way now. So I trust that like any of the attachments and stuff that I would, and I don't even use a lot of them. Most of the shit that I use is like DIY stuff that I've come up with because there's really not something that serves the particular purpose that I'm trying to. And so I can continue to do that stuff with this, and I'll have more options available to me with that rack than what I would with the Monster Light. So I think it might be a win altogether. But again, I sent them an email yesterday to ask them if they would do a custom clear or just a raw steel altogether. But he sent me back. I guess they have like 1,000 colors you can choose from, but none of them are clear. So we'll see how like just doing like a black one or something like that goes. But I before I sold my other one, I took off all the knobs and stuff like that I had bought because I was planning on probably using them somewhere else anyway. So I have a lot of that stuff already, assuming that the thread counts the same and everything. If not, I know where to get it and all that stuff. So that is a plan. I'm not going to have that. And that's also kind of a benefit without the Monster Light. I was pretty well stuck with that bright fucking orange. And I know that probably offends you, but for me, it was like, just looks like all I see out here is just fucking orange everywhere.
Oh, for the push pins, you mean?
Yeah, hitch pins.
Yeah, those look fucking ugly.
They are, and
The red's the worst, though, I think.
I used to think someone should fucking make these, and like you can get your own whatever color you want. You know what I mean? Like then Chip can have his bright ass green, and you can have orange and whatever. You know what I mean? Like people would probably pay for that, but
absolutely.
So you're really leaning Prime then? That's what you mean. You don't really. You're kind of still up in the air, but you're thinking Prime mostly.
That's what I'm thinking right now.
Because I was just gonna mention. Have you seen Jason from Surplus? He actually has a Rogue rack in his facility or his home gym, I guess it is. But it's a 4-post. At one time he had a 6-post. It's a 4-post, but he has the Rhino in the middle, and he does most of his stuff off the Rhino, and then he can bench or squat off the front of it, like a 4-post half rack, or because it's got the Rhino in the middle. I don't know if that's anything that you.
I like the Rhino, and I tried to figure out a way to make the Rhino fit my space and squeeze that into it, because I was like, maybe I'll just buy like a Rhino and 2 30-inch racks and 2 stacks and whatever. But like I like a weight stack for like my lat pull downs and rows and stuff. I like to just switch the weight. You know what I mean? Like I like to do drop sets and things like that. I had like a plate loaded, a couple of different styles of plate loaded, and it's a compromise. You know what I mean? Like is what it comes down to. And I'm not willing to sell my rack and all my shit and whatever and redo all of it all I would be gaining would be the Rhino and compromising on that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So not really. Yeah. I did talk to him about a rack, and he gave me a really great price on a rack. But when I calculate his rack and then I go to Rogue for all the rest of my stuff, it's where it's really hard, because it then takes me out of that price point where you get like the free shipping on some of the stuff. And so then it starts really all the other accessories that I would have had to add started kind of adding up. And it was like, if it was just a little bit, and if I was really dead set on having like a 6-post rack and all that stuff, I would probably still go that route. But the soul searching that I've done and feeling like I really do value the cable system probably more than being able to bench inside of a rack. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine. I was good with the 2-post. The only reason why, like when we had the wall mount thing, the only reason why I replaced that was because I had the weights. I wanted to get the weight stack, and so at first I had like a 4-post with the weight stack inside of it, and then I wanted second stack. And I was like, well, I'm just going to add, while I'm doing that, I'll just add the extra 2 posts or whatever and put them inside there and make this like functional trainer type setup, which now I think they call that the Athena, right? But it was cool. It worked out. It worked great for me. But I wanted to do something different, and now I think that the reality is that will probably be better for me long term. Even I'm 42, man. You know, for another 10, 15, I'm like a couple of years away from being that guy on one of those things that, you know, it looks
Nice.
how am I fit that kind of stuff in the gym?
I know Jake's mad because we keep going off on side tantrums, but does everyone else get seller's remorse selling the most random shit that they really didn't need or want, but it's just something you had for a few years and you just get seller's remorse and you're like, fuck, I really wanted to keep that, but you know, I didn't have room for it or I didn't really need it. But I feel like I get that almost on like every sell. I just get a little bit of seller's remorse for no reason. It's just a thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I mean,
glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, even if I know it's something 100% like, no, I never use this. I think it's just like, I think for me, it comes down to the whole thing. Like, this is like a hobby in itself, and like being like a gearhead for like lifting stuff. I'm like, I feel almost like a pack rat with it. I'm like, I don't need this at all. I never use this equipment. I bought it when I did because I thought it was neat or whatever, and I thought I might use it. And now I never use it, so I go to sell it. But I'm like, oh, but what if? But what if I don't know? What if in 3 months I decide I want to do a mesocycle with that thing? You know, I get the same thing, dude.
Yeah, I did that with the Cadillac bar. I got buyer's remorse. So
well, that wasn't the question.
And then I bought it again, like rebought it because I was like, yeah, fuck it, man. So
the exact same one or one of the different iterations?
So it happened to be a different iteration, but I didn't know that. They didn't like advertise that, you know. So the first one I had was the one with like where the sleeves are bolted with the bolts all the way through, and they just look like hardware, specials or whatever. And the little the X thing in the middle was like in center of the frame. And then the one that I replaced it with had the bolts that are a little bit more cleaner. You know, I can't think what that chamfer or whatever that, I can't think of what that is, but you know, they're like a cone. And then the X is like, it's on the edge of the frame, I guess, so that like if you rest it against your powerlifter belly or whatever, it feels a little more comfortable. But yeah, and I've been happy with it. I don't know why I got so remorseful the first time. I was like, this was dumb. You know, I'm just going to sell it while I can. You know, it wasn't quite COVID, but it was COVID enough. You know what I mean? Where you could like rent it for a few bucks and
try it out.
It went quick. But I did like later. I got it again. I was like, I don't know why. I think I was mad because like at first I was like, I really don't like the handles on the outside are too wide, and so I feel like I'm getting ripped off because I really only like this one set of handles. You know, like
I only use 2. I think I only use close grip and mid grip. I don't think if I use wide grip, it's like literally I have to knock it down like 30% to still get it's hard as shit when it's out there.
Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's like it made to me it was like it made the Rogue make sense, right? Because I was like, well, that's really cool because you know Chris Duffin, I assume, is probably bigger than I am. And so if he's the one that's saying where these need to be, and this is the best for your shoulders and all that stuff, like how does he know my shoulders are the same as his and all that stuff? So with the Rogue, I thought that's a pretty good idea. You can set the angle for what feels good for you. But I've heard enough about that thing to where I don't feel like I've missed out on that Rogue.
It was a great idea in concept.
Yeah.
It just seems like they dropped the ball on production so far. But it's an awesome idea. I agree with you completely.
Yeah. Yeah, like if they would have just taken the Kabuki and made it that, you know what I mean? Like, because it's I think frame and stuff that keeps it a little more stable than the actual. I mean, the shape is one thing, but you know, if you've used any of the others, they can feel the minute differences or whatever. But
hey, if you want to build your own, I can give you 17 shipping labels and 4 packs of Kabuki bolts if you need them.
Yeah,
you're pretty handy. Maybe you can make your own Kabuki bolt.
Shipping labels. That's probably, you know what? I bet all those people waiting fucking 18 months is Kabuki's just walking around with their goddamn heads cut off, wondering where their
I've got 4 kabuki wrenches and 4 bags of bolts. They just
Sorry.
kept sending me bolts.
We just wait for the flyer to give
Chip
us
Chip has no extra bolts though. None.
None.
Yeah.
None. So I had 2 products I wanted to call out that I would like to add to my gym by the end of the year. The first is 2.5 pound USA Olympic change plates from Rogue. And I don't care that they're going to come out to be $12 a pound. It's over a year now since the 10s and the 5s were released, and we've been waiting for the 2.5s to be released. So if you're listening, please release the 2.5s. It's a lifelong dream of mine to have a full matching set. So I will not give in and order the strength code 2.5s just to get 2.5 pound change plates.
Send me your address.
No, waiting it out. It's a little frustrating, but I'm going to keep riding it out. But I really would like to, hopefully by the end of the year, add a set of custom spotter arms from Surplus Strength. I kind of talked with Jason a little bit. We haven't gotten into the details yet, but I've got an idea for how I want to kind of customize them for my needs. So I'm hoping to get those at least ordered by the end of the year.
What are your needs specifically?
Yeah, I was going to say, what do custom?
Yeah, so
What does that look like?
what I'm looking for, first off, is think about the Oak Club, how they only take up a couple of holes on the upright.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is I only want them about 20, maybe 21 inches tops, extended from the upright so that I can actually put them facing in towards each other on opposite uprights and then use them for dip handles, put in utility posts. So those are the 2.
Because he's got the RM5, not the 6, right?
That's correct. Yeah,
So you need a shorter one.
Well, the 24-inch ones work on the 30-inch depth. I've seen that. But again, for me, it's like, if I'm going to spend $400 or $500 on spotter arms for, just for circuit training, that's a pretty big investment. So I want to be able to utilize them for multiple different things. Also, if I go through Surplus Strength, he can get the same powder coat to match my UPS high and low. So I just think that would look cool because aesthetics don't matter. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. So, and for 20 inches deep is plenty just for pressing work. I wouldn't use them for squatting. On my old T2, I had 12-inch spotter arms that I got from Amazon. That's plenty deep for just doing, chest pressing because you're not bringing the bar out very far from the upright. So,
you could just get those chrome 2.5s and like eco them.
No, not doing it. Not doing it. I'm based on principle at this point.
It's a principle of the thing.
Bleeding it out.
If Brandon doesn't have them, I don't think anybody's getting them.
I'm pretty sure. I was going to say that I'm pretty sure that Rogue's monster spotter arms are like $350 delivered or more. Because I got a Rogue Monster SM1. Yeah, I got a Rogue Monster SM1 for $300 local without spotter arms, and I spent $100 more for the fucking spotter arms. So
yeah, they're like
so
now.
I'm into it $700, but it's an $1,100 rec, so it's still a good deal. But I literally spent more for 2 pieces, 2 spotter arms, than I did, 2 uprights and 3 3 bottom pieces. So I was kind of blown away by that, but it is what it is.
I don't like those spotter arms, actually, like the Rogue Monster ones. Those are one of my least because they're so freaking big, man.
Well, that's
they're heavy too.
So
They're heavy.
Where I've got my makeshift roller pads with the band pegs.
Looking right at it.
Yep, to hold my knees down for lat pull downs. I would like to be able to place the spotter arms at the height I need for bench without having to move that one roller pad and band peg every time. That would be the goal. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but that would be ideal. And that's where that Oak Club style of only taking up, what do they take up? Oak Club takes up two.
Yeah, I think Rogues take up 4, don't they?
It's easily.
At least 3, if not 4. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like 4. It's got to be.
It's a lot. So he and I, like I said, we hadn't talked about specifics, but he said he could definitely, work with me to try to meet the need. So Jason,
it's almost 6.
Is it really?
I thought it was. I thought it was a lot. Yeah, it's close to a foot.
I think you just invented something, man. I might have to get those too because I bench on the front of mine to do multiple stations, and I do have to do that. I have to pull the pin out, move the thing down.
Yep.
So I would buy them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I was just looking at mine and thinking the same thing. Yeah. I just realized how much space the thing takes up. Dang.
It's
You heard it here
5.
first.
I might be drunk, but I'm
it's
pretty sure it's
5.
5.
Mine's 5. Yeah.
And the oak clubs are nice, but they're 30 inches. And that's because they're designed for benching and squatting. And I don't need anything that deep.
So you don't have a matador. You don't have a matador now, then?
No.
For all the aesthetic, athletic shit that you always do without your shirt on, you don't own a matador? That blows me away.
No, I've been doing dips with utility pins and the bench prop.
Okay. I gotcha.
It works.
It does
Yeah,
work.
no, okay. Oh, I gotcha. Because you can adjust the width too. So
Correct.
is it just that the pins aren't long enough for you to feel comfortable on them, or
No, the pins
you
are
just want
fine.
something?
The
You just
pins
want
are fine.
something like knurled or a little bit better.
No, the pins are fine, and I probably will still use the pins. Again, for me, it's taking the spotter arms and being able to use them for something else as well.
You want something you can use for like 4 different things.
Multi-purpose, 100%.
Makes sense.
It's a good idea.
Brilliant.
I love our round tables.
Yeah, it's everyone's starting to loosen up, and it's really just getting good.
Yeah,
We're down to that. We're down to our last question.
2 more hours.
Well, if you think of a good one, let me know. But let's go to the last one we have here on the list, at least. If you follow along in this community, just basically in our community, it's pretty clear who the top sellers are. It's definitely Rogue, Rep, and Titan. So I'd be curious to hear who you guys think, and it may be nobody, but if you had to answer, who would be the biggest threat to Rogue, Rep, or Titan within the next 5 years?
Nobody. I think the key word in that question that made me give such a strong answer is because use the word threat. Nobody's a threat to them in any capacity as far as like, this is a free market. We're in capitalism, nobody's a threat. Nobody's going to take out Rogue. Rep and Titan, they're very secure in their spot as far as like where they fit in our community for like their price points and the stuff they're putting out. Nobody's a threat. If we rephrase the question to, like, who do we think is going to start giving them a little more of a run for their money, maybe, or start like picking up, there are possible answers there that I might give. I think Bells of Steel. I think once their advertising gets better and people start realizing how good their stuff is, and for the price point, like, I think they're going to pick up a lot. I don't think anybody's an actual threat to any of those, though.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's kind of what I was thinking. And it takes a long time for a company to come up with, manufacturing and prototyping and distribution. 5 years, I don't think is long enough to really do that. So what I was thinking is, not really one specific company, but there's a lot of these smaller companies kind of pick and take some of the products and some of the market from the bigger companies, but not one company in general. You've got like PhenoX and the Bully Fab and Stray Dog and all these other ones. They'll take a little chunk of it, but not enough to put a dent. There's nothing that can put a dent in it, probably.
So I think that kind of like they're saying here, I don't think there's going to be any single or any group of companies that are going to come in and threaten the market share that those companies hold. I think Titan has a really diverse, I think we can all attest to Titan's diverse portfolio, right? They do like trailer homes and shit or whatever outside of just, and they have their own manufacturing plants and all that stuff. I mean, they're pretty well diverse. So even like the decline that the home gym space market might see, they're going to be able to have that staying power from some other market segment that they're a part of. Similar to Rogue, I mean, Rogue has in this, they have absorbed other other smaller companies or manufacturing therefore. They're also now making beefy fucking bicycles, right? Which is weird, but they're making bicycles and kind of diversifying there, and they're picking up stuff in the powerlifting community and the strongman community and stuff. And so they're kind of a little bit more, they're not just like a home gym company. If anything, if there was a threat to any of those three, I would think maybe it would be Rep. And I don't know anything about their management or anything like that, but it wouldn't be another company coming in and knocking them out or anything. It would be them growing too big too fast and not being able to pivot whenever the market declines, and then having all this overhead and money and cost invested in something like the Rep Aries or the Athena or whatever. And like right now they're on this huge high. And then, I could see the market trending to a position where they're not able to keep up with their own selves at that point. But I don't know anything about how. That's just me answering this question on a couple of beers.
I'm sorry. I'll counter all that and say that, dude, people are really cheap. So like Amazon and Walmart, I know we've talked about that in the past, that Amazon/Walmart, something like that. Anybody that can sell plates and dumbbells for $1 a pound delivered is going to eat up a big market, just because people starting out gyms, they can't grasp that they need to pay up to $2,000 for a rack. They're just like, oh, I'll pay $400 and get this piece of shit off Amazon. And not even, you can get something for like $200 or $300. So I honestly think like the cheapest piece of shit you can find is going to, continue to have their share of the market. Are we ever going to buy from them? No. Are people getting into home gyms 5 years from now that are finally fed up with Planet Fitness? Maybe, they're going to spend $1,000. It's competitive enough out there on the really cheap shit that you can get enough weight and really cheap equipment to do decent stuff in a gym for under a couple grand. So I really think that the very extreme budget, most out of calibration plates from China are going to be what is going to continue to either stay the same or grow over the years. That doesn't really affect us who want high quality shit, but that market is going to be there. And if anything, like I don't know, anyone I talk to about home gyms isn't looking for nice equipment. They're looking for the cheapest shit they can find because they're looking to spend $500 to $1,000 and have an entire home gym. And they don't understand that they're not going to get anything really of good quality for that, but they could still buy something for that.
Yeah, sounds like you. Let's see. I think about that though.
I think you cut out. I missed your witty comment there. Your daddy.
I said it sounds like you need better friends.
Yeah.
No, but you think about though.
You guys are my friends.
I think we talked about this on the last one. A lot of us started with the bare bones, cheapest rack that we could get, cheapest plates that we could get. And all of a sudden recognize the potential of having a home gym. And all of a sudden, and within the next 2 to 6 years, you're upgrading, right? It became a hobby. You're putting more money into it than your car. It's evolved into this passion that you have. And not saying that, there's going to be a lot of people that are taking that passion, to the next level like we have, but I don't think you're going to have enough people jumping into it, buying that cheap rack on Amazon, putting all their money into Amazon to threaten a company like Rogue, Rep, or Titan. I kind of look at this from a different standpoint. I also agree that nobody is going to be a threat. I think they're going to continue to be each other's threats the same way that they have been, because the big appeal to all these smaller companies that are coming out with, just new unique items, Surplus Strength is a big one that I'm a fan of. Vendetta Strength, their brackets are, in my opinion, really cool. Stray Dog's got some cool stuff. But these smaller companies that are coming out, and I lump Stray Dog into that, even though I know they do a lot of stuff on the like collegiate and professional sites. They are a little bit bigger than those other ones, but they're not in the home gym community. They're still kind of a small company. Most of those companies are going to continue to do what they're doing because they're taking the quality over quantity approach. What's important to them is giving the customer a quality piece of equipment.
I can second that though, because I have the Vendetta brackets and they are incredible.
So I'm like an hour from Buffalo. Does anyone have anything from the Buffalo Bully Fab guy? Like, is there anything worth looking at? I know there's a bunch of custom shit that's like for articulating, cable shit. What's?
I've been eyeing that glider. I don't have any of the stuff, but I'm gonna eye on that glider because you guys know I did the weight stack, but I've been thinking about getting the glider for the other side, so then I'd have a system on both sides. It looks nice, man. I had the same fucking idea. This is the one of the few ideas I've had over the last 2 years. And then right after I had the idea and I started talking to a buddy of mine in manufacturing about some kind of like system like that, that's when now there's like 3 or 4 people making the same kind of thing. But it looks really nice. I know a couple guys who ordered off that first run, but I don't have anything personal.
I've got a buddy that off of that first run loves them, man. Absolutely loves them. He sends me stuff. He's like, look, them as they'll use them for like shrugs on, you know what I mean? He's like it's like a Smith machine dumbbell shrug, or he'll use them for like a Smith style dumbbell press. He just loosens up the collar or sleeve, whatever, and then slides it over.
Back.
Just real quick, I was just going to say the last piece of that is I don't think that these companies that are coming out with this, like in my opinion, this cool, unique, innovative ideas, I don't think they're trying to compete with Rogue, Rep, or Titan. Like they're not trying to get into that space. That's not their goal. And I think that at this point, anybody that's trying to get into that space and make that their goal, they're not going to do it in 5 years, like the other guys have said. So,
do we all agree that Bells of Steel is a distant number 4? Like, is there anyone else that's number 4 in that group?
Well, that's what I was going to say off y'all's with the Amazon and Chip saying nobody's really going to pass Rogue, and you're saying people are the cheapest, looking for the cheapest item or to at least to get started. That's where I like where they came out with their Hydro Series rack. But what they need to do is make that a 1-inch hole, 3x3 1-inch hole, and go from where you can go from a basic squat stand all the way to you build out your 6-post rack or beyond. If you want to do that way, then I think they have a chance to not pass Rogue, but get in the middle in there, second, third position, jump one of the other brands. If they had something like that, because they already have some innovative products like they come out with roller J cups standard on their bracks and stuff like that. I mean, they're not the best quality. They're not they're definitely not Ghosts and things like that. But it's an option. You just when you select your rack, you can select roller J cup or sandwich J cup as part of the rack, and you can do that all the way through. I think if they
it's
had
not 1 inch,
holes,
what is it? 5/8?
It's 5/8, 3x3, 5/8.
Yeah, unfortunately,
it's their new one, but they're all the parts are pretty much you can be added on. So you could take it from a 2-post squat stand and make it a 6-post, and just like the Rogue and everything else.
I think Gluck had a video about that.
But they need to make it a 1-post. I mean, a 1 inch.
It's actually a brilliant strategy because if you again take the thought process of I want to get in as cheap as possible, and then I want to build from there. Getting in for a couple $100 with a squat stand, and then adding on to what you've got versus having to sell it, flip it, and then buy something new.
Yeah, because then you would have to sell your Monster Light. You could just go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, tell me. But they are making that in a 1 inch. They just came out. They're doing the 5-inch first, 5/8 inch first, and they're coming out with a 1 inch later because they're going to make all the stuff more premium. Which is another reason why you should buy the fucking Monster, because everybody thinks that the 5/8 is the goddamn poor man's shit, and that they don't like UHMW or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know what that's about, but that was. Chip and I had like a side convo a week or so ago when with the Bells of Stealth, and that's why I know that they're doing it in a 1 inch, because we were like, what does that even mean? I don't even remember the word he used. Was it more? Did he say more premium or more high end or upscale or something like that? Is what they plan to do with their 1 inch stuff. So if you're on the fence about 5/8 or 1 inch, I'm telling you should just go ahead and buy the fucking Monster.
I really need to buy a 1.5 inch socket and a 1/2 inch ratchet that'll drive it, because using Rogue's 2 fucking box end wrenches took me 3 hours with my goddamn rack together.
I've got one. I'll mail it to you. I bought it because I had every intention of fucking buying the Monster. Like I bought that, and I bought some 43 inch.
Oh, you bought the wrench before you bought the rack?
Yeah. And so I can build it the day that it delivers.
Is everybody else's 1 inch like a different size socket though? Like Rogue's 1 inch shit is 1.5. What is Prime and what?
Yeah.
Because what is Rep 50? What's the Rep 5000? Is that one?
It's smaller. It's smaller.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's a little bit smaller.
So
Rogue has
right? So it's whatever the
Rogue's
metric equivalent is, right?
Yeah.
So
the washers are smaller. The bolts are smaller. I mean, it still goes in a 1 inch hole, but they're a little bit smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. It goes in a 25 millimeter hole. So.
I'll take you up on that if you want to send it. I'll pay shipping.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll send it to you because, whatever. Yeah.
You're going to buy Rogue Monster the day after you send it to me.
But no, Prime does a thing where it's like it's 1 inch holes on the uprights, but they build it with 5/8 or 1/2 inch bolts, like where it's all put together and stuff like that.
Like William Strength does that too.
It's supposed to be big ass washers and just little head bolts.
No, the 1 inch holes are just on the uprights. It's not like a full. It just has upright. It's basically think of where
the cross members connect. It's not 1 inch hardware.
Right. Yeah. It's like half.
Gotcha.
Inch. which makes sense, right? I mean, it would be like probably what they do, like if you went and bought like a fitness reality rack, and that's what I'm having a hard time with whenever I look at that. I'm like, it's not right, doesn't have a bolt this big.
But no, because like William Strength does that for theirs, and they build Elite FTS's racks as well, and they do 1-inch holes in the uprights and 5/8 hardware to hold the rack together. So I mean, it's a quality way to do it. It keeps the cost down.
Rogue did that with this this low row platform that I'm using to prop.
Are you talking about that again?
Like the jailhouse pose. If you guys like to hear about it, I'll tell you. It used 5/8 bolts with 1-inch holes all throughout. So, it's like Chip said, it's a way to keep the cost down and still substantial enough to hold it. But some of them, I know Vulcan uses like those big ass Allen bolts. Is it Irwin Fitness? You can upgrade to like those big ass 1-inch Allen bolts also, which is pretty cool. But you probably have to get on Amazon and order that. And you should do that before you get the rack. But you should decide 100% that you're going to buy that rack before ordering parts for it. But it's cool. What was the question?
Who's going to overtake Rogue?
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Irwin Fitness, maybe.
No, I don't think so, man. Maybe in Canada. I mean, Canada's answer. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Rogue is like, it is the best, and they just don't stuff that we have. I've got a buddy that lives in Canada, Keith and I have a mutual buddy in Canada.
Greg.
Yeah. And that Irwin thing was, I mean, Irwin, and I mean, I don't even think Canadians buy from Oak Club. Man, I don't know who does.
Brandon does.
Well, it's premium. Yeah.
I've got my buddy that has the like lighters. He's got the Oak Club arms, and I mean, they're nice stuff. They're cool, but they don't like. I mean, I know he has a Rogue rack, whatever, but they don't fit. Like they're loose and sloppy. I would be pissed, man, if I paid $700 or whatever for spotter arms and they're as sloppy as those were.
So what were they made for? I mean,
they're made for a 3x3 1-inch, and he had like emailed them, and he was like, maybe can you send me some different UHMW or something? And like, yeah, we can. They were charging like $70 or $80 or something like that for the UHMW. And then they were like, can't guarantee it'll be any different, but the UHMW will come in different thicknesses.
Well, let me ask you a question. What kind of rack does he have?
He has the Rogue Monster.
So here's what I'll tell you from a personal experience. I have the Go Strong roller J-cups, and what I found is even 3x3 American. Did we talk about this in the last one? The uprights are not uniform all the way down on my road rack.
Yeah, tolerance on a square metal tubing is pretty relaxed.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they're just sloppy as fuck.
So I had to take that's what I have with my rollers. I had to take the UHMW off, put a few strips of painter's tape is actually what I used, bolted it back together. And now for where I
shim.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a little bit snug on one of the uprights where I kind of have to fight it a little bit, but it's not messing the rack with the UHMW. But I can literally move it around from different spots to different uprights, and it fits differently.
Yeah.
So that's probably what he's running into there.
It's possible. But yeah, that's how mine. I've got 2 sets of the Ghost rollers, and they'll fit. Some of them fit, or one of them fits better than the other. But I mean, I understand that tolerance on the steel tubing is not that great, but
So you're just straight up not benching and squatting like indefinitely until you get a rack, which might be a month or two. Or are you like power cleaning shit up and like Steinborn squatting?
I don't know if you guys know. I have a bunch of equipment in my gym. I've got the only thing I can't do is a barbell bench from a J cup or a barbell back squat from a J cup. But I've got I have a selectorized leg extension, leg curl thing. I've got a leg press. I've got a full GHD mounted to my wall. I've got 5 through 100 pounds in dumbbells. I've got kettlebells that still have the fucking price tag on them.
Who's your leg curl by?
It's actually like an Alibaba special. It's a knockoff of Home Gym.
Scratch and dent.
Plate loaded?
No, it's got a weight stack.
Oh, nice.
It's
Probably
nice.
like 150, 200.
Yeah, probably something 200, 220. Or it's in kilograms.
It's got to be at least 200, right?
Yeah. It's actually pretty nice, man. It's a combo thing. So you just lay the seat down and go to town on it. It's pretty cool.
So a line hamstring curl and then a seat that goes up for leg extension. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Get pictures of it. And then, like I said, I've got the leg press. So, and kettlebells and stuff. And I've got a trap bar. I can do some leg stuff. I just can't do a back squat unless I want to fucking power clean it up, which is, man, I was thinking about it and I was like, I survived the fucking pandy without anything. You know what I mean? Like I can survive 6 to 8 weeks for you know what I mean? So I've got deadlift bars. At Kabuki nickel, it's fucking beautiful, Keith. And
I fucking hate you. Side note, I know Jake's so mad at me. So there's a Rogue plate loaded belt squat for $1,500. Like, what are those? Is that like a used $1,500 plate loaded? Well, they're all freestanding, so like not a rack mounted. Is that like what don't those go for like $225 or something? Or they think it's like an hour away. I have no clue if it's even worth contemplating. But if it's only a couple $100 off, it's not worth it at all.
It's $1,500.
Yeah, a Rogue freestanding plate loaded belt squat.
The Rhino.
Yes.
Rhino.
Yeah. The Rhino.
that's a great price.
Yeah, it's a good price.
That's not bad.
Then it's probably gone. I saw it a couple days ago, and I saved it, but I never circled back to it.
Yeah, because you can buy the cross members and hardware to make it rack mounted if you wanted to. So you can like a drop in.
I love my new RM3. It sticks out farther from the wall than my Titan T2 did, and it's there's no there's no floor mounted cross members. So people, because like I have people over, so when we actually want to do a back squat or a lift off on bench, it's super easy to actually walk behind the rack now and lift off. With the exception of there's a huge fucking like 4-inch goddamn water clean out pipe that I put the no wine cellar sticker on, but you really can't see it from here. So I probably should paint that bastard orange. But other than that, having that's why having a plate loaded or a rack mounted secondary plate pull down doesn't do me any good, because like I wanted a rack that's universally beneficial to having multiple lifters when having back squats and shit. So it didn't really having a rack mounted belt squat doesn't really do me any favors, because then I would lose the whole ability of having a back spotter or a lift off on the secondary bench. Sorry, I'm a little bit tipsy.
I like that you have a lot of customers, man. That was one of my complaints with my setup was, I have to like fucking climb through here, and sometimes that was a pain in the ass. That's one of the things that I've thought about with that. I was like, that's kind of a bonus. I wouldn't have that shit to step over, and you know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about trying to like deadlift inside the rack, or am I going to go out there and that kind of stuff. So,
is that a wall mounted plate tree?
Do I?
Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. So you don't need to store your plates on so there's no reason for you to have a 6 post, because you're never going to store your plates on. So you only need a 30-inch rack, basically.
Well,
a 42, I guess, if you wanted to be bougie.
I want to have something that I would be great with a 30. But I want to have something that I can put something like a functional trainer. Like I used to have 2 slingers and I still have the swivel pulleys, because you can't buy those anymore. And the guy didn't want to pay me what I felt like I could sell them to someone else for. I want that. That's what the 6 post is for. I didn't store weight on that. I put the weight stacks inside the 24-inch section, which is what I couldn't get around. I was like, maybe I could I thought maybe I'll get like 2 30-inch racks. I'll put a fucking Rhino inside one of them, and I'll put weight stacks on the side of it, and then a 30-inch that I can lift inside. This is just stupid, man. I'm just trying to like force this squat rack thing, power rack in my life that may not even be necessary, really.
So if you guys had a reverse hyper and you wanted to replace it with something else equivalent size, what would be your like what would you replace it with? Because I've had a reverse hyper for a few years. I use it once a week at best. The one thing I would love to replace it with is a hammer strength plate loaded low ISO row, but it's like it's bigger than that, and I also can't find one for less than like $3,000. What would you would a cable would a functional a small functional functional trainer be better than a reverse hyper? If I already have a plate loaded high-low lat pull down, is a cable crossover, like, what are you gaining from a cable crossover? Just the ability to do fucking literally chest
Flies.
Like flies.
Yes, there you go. That's a word.
He's a power lifter.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know that. I mean, if your goal is powerlifting, I don't know that there's a lot of benefit for you. And if you've already got a low row, high pulley, I don't know there would be benefit for you from a functional trainer. I mean, to me, that's almost like you're going to be the equivalent of you going to a hotel gym. You know what I mean? I guess that depends on if you've got buddies and stuff that like to do accessory work. That's what I think that for. But you can do a lot of the accessories that you're probably doing to strengthen your deadlift and stuff. You can do a lot of that stuff with your high. All you really need is a high and low. Unless it's like the only benefit that you might see is, like, I could say for my high pulley where it was, there were a lot of times where I'm like adjusting myself to where the pulley was so that it feels right. You know what I mean? Whereas with a functional trainer, you can put the pulley at a height where you can put your body in a position that feels better for finding like the sweet spot for hitting the muscles and stuff that you're trying to hit, with a little bit less body contortion type stuff, or like, you don't have to like stand on something and that kind of stuff. So it might be a little bit of a convenience, but ultimately I don't know that like a little functional trainer or something I would expect to see in even worked into like a powerlifting program or anything like that.
Can we agree that a lat pull down without a low row is one of the dumbest fucking things ever made? And like, if someone has that in their gym, it's the biggest waste of space ever, because without the low pulley, you're taking up literally a stall mat, as a throwback to the last podcast, worth of space to not have a low pulley. Like,
unless you're me and Chip, we got the surplus.
That doesn't take up the space though.
Yeah, he's talking about footprint. Yeah,
but I see. I move it around too.
I see those all the time for like someone wants a commercial lat pull down for $500 and doesn't have a fucking low pulley. It's like, that's literally useless to me.
Yeah, I would definitely rig one up.
Well, if you're thinking bell squat, you can't do like squat max because you're in the basement, so you'll be hitting the ceiling or whatever. But what about something like the Bells of Steel belt squat? I saw one the other day at a guy's house. I went over and picked up some wagon wheels. He sold me 2 wagon wheels, like brand new, for like $150. Yeah, and he had the belts. He had they just look like they came.
They're like $400 delivered, aren't they?
Yeah, he had them sitting on his rack. He's like, yeah, they're just in my way. And I was like, is that the Bells of Steel? He's like, yeah, you want to try it out? Go ahead. I mean, it's solid. It's not like one of their light commercial racks or anything. It's heavier steel. I think he had like the Spud dip belt or the Spud belt squat belt. And I mean, it was really nice. So I don't know what the price of that is. I haven't looked into it, but I mean, that it seems like a solid piece that should be.
I'm assuming this is like a freestanding articulating arm you would mount. Super
it's like a lever. There's plate posts in the back.
They're like the winning, like the Matt winning ones. Yeah.
Did you know Matt Winning is a world record holder?
I'm
like 30 of them. I was just making a joke about Matt Winning always telling you that he's a world record holder, but if it didn't go over the first time, it's not going to be funny the second time. Sorry. Well, it's fucking dead air. Okay. Moving on. Cut this guy off.
I'm like really partial to the Rogue Rhino cable style belt squat myself. The lever ones are nice, but if I were spending the money, unless it was just a huge discrepancy in cost, that belt or that cable style, it lends itself to more versatility if you're into that. But ultimately, I just like the feel of it better. Like you can really get right over the top of it and find that sweet spot where it, it doesn't pull. It doesn't feel like your knees are grinding into the kneecaps or anything like that. And it's just, to me, that's the style that I like. So if you've got one of those for $1,500 near your house, dude, I'd jump all over that thing if I had the room for it.
Well, if you ever sold that Titan chest fly, you might have for
I sold it for $100. I did.
You probably paid $500 for it, you dipshit. That's awesome. That's hysterical.
I have minimal tightened. I can't quite de-tighten because I will say they have the best solution for the, like, that's what the wall mounted plate holder things that are.
Those are like $60 too, aren't they? Those are super cheap.
They were like 40 when I bought them. I got them like
Wow.
right before the pandemic. And I went on Amazon and I bought a Mommy peg. That's the name brand, is Mommy. And I drilled a hole and put another one, so I got 5 plates on them. And yeah, those are the best, like, wall mounted plate solution.
What are you using for the 5th peg?
I bought the Mommy. Oh, what do I have on it? Tins?
You said it came with 4 pegs, and you drilled a hole for the 5th peg. What did you use for the actual plate post for the 5th hole, or for the 5th plate storage post?
It's a plate storage post that I bought.
With this.
Well, those are
Oh, Mommy.
Right?
So there's some brand called Mommy, Maumi.
Oh, not Mommy.
Yeah.
I was very
Right here.
confused.
Mummy.
It's probably pronounced something else, but I like Mommy, and I'm going with Mommy. And anyway, it's like, they got an inch. It's like a single. It's like the Charlie Foxtrot Tango style, but without that guy. And so I just drilled a hole in the upright thing and attached that thing. And then I'm kind of a little bit anal retentive, and so on the side of them, I also wanted to, like, cut my legs off on ordering more plates that I don't need, and so I just gave myself like 2 inches at the end. Like, I put the 5s and the 10s and stuff up there, and then I cut the plates off so they're like a little bit more flush and they look nicer from the side. This is like when Maddie was talking earlier about a little bit of aesthetics. I kind of laughed because I was like, yeah, I've been out here like with a fucking fine paintbrush, like fixing the area where I cut it, and actually not really, but some of the stuff that I've done out here, I'm like, it is a fucking project out here sometimes.
Was it Charlie? Well, is it Charlie Foxtrot Tango that Maddie was talking about earlier when he said some people that are doing
3D printed stuff?
Yeah, that's not working out because people are posting shit to the Garage Gym fucking Facebook of just completely being destroyed and then getting go fuck yourself emails back from them.
Yeah,
I was actually go ahead.
You can see it when they post the busted shit. You're like, it is all hollow in there. Like, the guy's not even using. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus. And
I don't know how much.
Cheap. Like, all right, yeah, it was. Wait till you.
Well, I don't know how much you guys know about 3D printing, but like, it's very obvious the infill, which how much you fill it in, like, of the material. He's not doing it fully, which was what you're talking about. It's like hollow inside. I was talking to the owner of Vendetta, the Vendetta brackets, because he had posted like a survey on his story asking about how would people feel about 3D printed parts, but for like things like knobs and things that aren't bearing weight, he's just getting feedback from people like, is that something that would bother you? Is it something that you're fine with? Should I put educational material out? And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, yeah, because I don't want to be like one of those guys that are just like putting out stuff and it's breaking and, just basically telling you, well, all sales are final, go fuck yourself. And I was like, yeah, I wonder who that could be. And
3 guesses.
He was like, yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, I just got a bunch of stuff 2 weeks ago from that Aperture Engineering guy. All the 3D printed stuff. That stuff's nice.
I've had good results with that. Everything from my Monster Light and my Monster from Aperture Engineering has been money. We kind of collaborated on some Titan T2 original J-Cups from like 5 years ago. So he sent me something that kind of sort of fit. And then racking a couple of 400-pound squats completely destroyed them. But I think he gave them to me at no cost as a sample, so I wasn't going to bitch about it. But other than the really thin shit for the Titan T2, everything I've had for my Monster Light and Monster, I've had for 2 or 3 years. The color's great. It adds some pop to your gym, and it's I've beat the shit out of it, and it's just smiling at me. There's been no quality problems with Aperture Engineering.
Well, and the business card is awesome.
I got one really awesome business card, and then like there were 2 or 3 other orders, which is like either no business card or a paper one. But I got one that was literally a actual printed off, 3D printed card. It was fucking pretty sweet.
That's cool. I don't have any 3D. Well, I think my first like eBay purchase for the gym thing was like was a pair of 3D printed little end cap things that were supposed to go like on the end of the Monster Light spotter arms, and they suck. So I didn't use them. And I kind of just discounted all the 3D printing shit after that.
You gotta have the right material. So like the stuff that the material I used for like on my J cups is this. It's a rubber that they use in like for tires on spacecraft and shit. And it's not any more expensive than like the normal kind of plastic material. My buddy who's like, he's a pilot and like he's a welder. He's my buddy who helped me with like my pulley system that we built. But he was the one who put me onto it. But these things, like we made the cap covers for it. I've got like infilled. I'll post a picture of them later of like custom, like there's a design on them and stuff. But like these things are so tough. Like you drop hundreds of pounds on these things and they have not dented at all, and they're completely 3D printed. So I was saying earlier, I think there's a lot that could potentially could be done in the future in the fitness community with that stuff, but they got to get the right materials involved.
Yeah, and get it out of the dipshits that are willing to say 60-40. Yeah.
Yes.
I got some of the Aperture Engineering stuff on my spotter arms, the Rogue spotter arms, and then when I had the Titan roller cups, I had the Aperture Engineering on there too. They held up really well. Another guy that does some stuff similar to that is Koala Barbell. I think he's friends with Kurt Locker. He makes some cool stuff. We're working on something right now for my Mutant Metals mono rollers. If they fit, I think he's going to have those out later this week or in a few weeks. We're testing them out right now to make sure they fit properly and the things are right. But also on the Mutant Metals, he has these. They're like some type of heavy plastic, and they're magnetic. So that's what goes in the back of the pin. If you guys can see it, it goes in the back there. It's not a metal pin, but it's magnetic, and it goes right on there. But it's not load bearing because there is a steel pin that holds it on. And this just keeps it from swaying back and forth. But something like that, I know me and Chip have talked about it before about doing something like that for surplus strength, where you can easily move it, snap in and out, because it wouldn't be load bearing. The load bearing would be on the cross member and the cross channel that's on there. So something like that you could use to move stuff in and out quickly. But that's one that's Mutant Metals is making, and it seems to be pretty solid so far.
Yeah, there's also that what's his Average Dad Fitness. He's been doing like the 3D printed chalk bowl, the skull chalk bowl thing.
Yep, that was pretty neat.
I think I'd probably get one of those, even though I don't think I'm strong enough where I really need chalk.
What was it? What was it for?
It's a 3D printed chalk bowl, and it's so skull shaped.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I bought this skull on Etsy. I sometimes just, you see something, you're like, oh, that's cool. Fuck, I'm gonna buy that. It looks like, and that's like, it's like kind of hidden over there. But I was just earlier whenever there was that like 47 minutes, I think it was, Jake, that we were just sitting here waiting on you, like staring at our phone. I bought that prime rack. I've got to take that fucking skull out of here because like that there's and even like with the raw steel, I was like, I don't think that this is gonna. I'm trying to make it look less like a George Jetson fucking home gym, But yeah, I don't know.
He's already been born. If you look at his Wikipedia page, he's already been born. I think he was born this year.
Yeah. Who? Oh, George
Jetson was born sometime in 2022 or 2021, I believe. So completely random and irrelevant. But
I take your word for that, Rain Man. I don't know.
Yeah. Who's on second? Fuck you.
Yeah.
We should talk about that Garage Gym Con, right?
Yeah, guys. Tickets.
My wife has been
tomorrow.
giving me shit about that. Yeah,
Tomorrow.
She's been telling me we need to buy tickets for the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, well, let me actually make sure there's people showing up before I spend $3,000 on tickets and everything. So that's awesome. Good to know. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, tomorrow. So we're recording the 12th. It's actually on the website right now. If you check it out. I need to build out the page a little bit more, but yeah, it's ready to go. What do you guys want to know?
There's rooms and tickets available at the same time for one price. Also, vendor. So the first question was to get my wife off my back because she wants to know what she can buy and how she can order it, and so we can like set in stone our 2023 calendar. I want to know who's going to be there, what they're bringing, etc. Everyone keeps talking about heavy lifting. Is there going to be some like some exhibitions of feats of strength? Who's bringing their actual barbells, or who's just there handing out business cards?
Right. So yeah, to start off, I will say like there will be 100% guaranteed refund within, I think I'm going to say 30 days of the event, just because should give you everybody enough time to really figure out if they can make it or not. Two, a lot of the like early registrants that people, or the early ticket purchases, allow us to go out and try and find a lot of really cool stuff like heavy lifters and this or that. There also will be discounts for room rates. Those aren't there on the website yet, so I'll make a note of that on the page. Room discounts will be coming. There'll be options for people there's going to be 4 different options as far as like tickets. So number 1, there will be a full package weekend. So it'll be Friday through Sunday. You have access to everything. And the big thing is you'll have access to hundreds of pieces of equipment that Friday evening before the expos open. So you'll have access to the expos. We'll definitely be doing like throughout the weekend live podcasts. You mentioned lifts or feats of strength. Definitely want to get some strong lifters. Have had a really strong response from a lot of companies. So I do think the vendor response I do think the vendors are going to show up. I have not like made official offers because still trying to figure out the space, but it seems like at least the ones really passionate about the community seem like they'll be there, even if like there's not thousands and thousands and thousands of consumers. They just want to be there. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at right now. A lot of it is more like just got to build it out these next 6 months. But I think we can make something pretty dang cool. And I think everybody who comes is going to be like right there with the community. It's a really cool spot. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but if you're there, you're there. There's not much else to do outside of French Lick, the resort. But yeah, it should be pretty cool.
Sounds good.
Everyone looks like they're going to fly into Louisville, and it's like an hour and a half drive, I think, give or take.
Louisville or Indianapolis, yeah. And then for a lot of people in the Midwest, it is driving distance. So
yeah, it was like 11 hours for me, I think. It's a bit much.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
I looked at flights. I can't remember if they were like 168 or 268, whatever it was. I was like, it's enough to I'm not driving.
There is no doubt that for anybody, it's especially if you have to fly, it's a commitment. It's just one of those things where it's like, I understand there's probably not going to be massive amount of people just purchasing right away. They do have to like really figure out the schedule and see who's coming and talk to their friends to see if they're coming. So I think it's just going to be something that trickles over the next 6 months. And you should, I would say by the end of like this year, end of January, I would say before the end of this year, hopefully we have like a pretty good understanding of specific people who are going to be there.
Was there,
yeah.
Was there a limited number of tickets that you're making available?
There will be, yeah. Like, I have no idea if it's going to just blow up, but it's not going to be one of those things where there's several thousand or more people. It's going to be a smaller thing. Not smaller, but like, I mean, if we fill it up, it'll be relatively tight. But yeah, it's not like the Arnold or any other like mainstream event for sure.
Right.
And it'll probably be a bunch of dudes like us in like their 30s and 40s. So
yeah.
Will it be weird if I show up and you guys find out that I've just been a catfish this whole time?
Like an actual catfish.
Who still doesn't have a rack.
Yeah. But then I hope so. But, if I order it from Kabuki, there's a good fucking chance that I wouldn't have it.
They don't offer racks, do they?
They did. They had a kabuki collab. It was like 12 grand, and it was basically an RM3 or whatever.
They've got one. I
What?
was just gonna say they've got one at Indy City Barbell.
Just get the Columbia bar. It's all you need.
Yeah, fucking 9 different movements of uselessness.
It's $90 to ship, right? 85 or something like that dollars to ship that barbell to me from them. Like I looked at it because my buddy Jose and I were. One of us is probably going to buy it because we think it's fucking hilarious. But then we both kind of tapped out when we saw the shipping. I was like, you know what? I'll pay $500 for the bar, but I'm not paying $80 to ship.
But it's the best budget bar for most people.
Right. So I thought that bar was a joke when I thought it had like passive knurling and it was like an alternative. Like basically it was their Ohio bar. But when I realized it was like their actual Kabuki power bar, but at 28.5 and no other differences, and still $500, what the fuck is the point of saving $200 to get a bar that isn't powerlifting specs and is only 28.5? Like I really don't get it. Like I'd understand if it was a Ohio power bar, or sorry, an Ohio comparable bar with passive knurling and no center knurling for $400 or $500, but it's literally at a power bar at 28.5 for still 400 shipped or 400 plus shipping, I believe. It's like, what's the point?
Texas Power Bar.
Texas Power Bar is fucking stupid in their own rights. They could have had more of a market if they figured out how to make a fucking 29 millimeter bar, but they refused to get rid of their fucking 9-inch goddamn sleeve collars.
All right, what do you guys think about calling it? It's we're closing in on 2 hours.
It's like, I'm done, but everybody else is like, no more. Grab more beers.
Yeah.
I definitely had too many beers tonight. I'm going to regret this tomorrow, but I had a great time, guys. As always, I don't care. The other fucking roundtables, I really enjoy the individuals, but together they don't put a really great podcast. There's not a lot of banter. Like I feel that we all have that group chat. So we have fucking banter that goes back and, sometimes that bites us in the ass, but for the most part, like we can all communicate a lot better.
Cut him off.
They're gonna come after you.
Mute.
I love you. I talk shit to all of them in their DMs anyway.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoyed it, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.